Have you guys ever wondered how some people are always traveling, posting pictures of dreamy destinations like Bali, Santorini, or Switzerland on Instagram, and they leave you wondering how in the heck can they afford to spend that much money? Take a moment to yourself right now and think, what would a perfect life for you look like? What would it look like to live free from the shackles of making decisions based on how much money you're making in a given month? For some of you guys, you're probably picturing yourself right now sitting in a lounge chair by the ocean with the sun shining on your body while you savor a sip of that delicious margarita you just ordered. For some of you guys, you're probably picturing yourself sitting in a steakhouse and thinking about ordering the most expensive item on the menu. Or maybe you're picturing yourself cruising around town in a brand new luxury sports sedan. Now take a moment and think about what's stopping you from living your perfect life. If the answer is that you cannot afford to live the perfect life that you have been dreaming of, you have come to the right place. In this video, we will be talking about financial independence and more specifically, the FIRE movement. Haha, not that kind of fire, but the more money kind of fire that helps you get rich and retire from your job sooner than you always thought of, and gives you time as well as money to enjoy the more finer things in life, such as this video. More than half the population in the country has less than 3 months worth of emergency savings. And not only that, the percentage of population with no savings at all is growing year by year. Chances are that the number will significantly be higher by the end of 2021 due to unemployment, inflation, and just the economic climate around the country in general. And because of this, you, who are dreaming of this perfect life in your head right now, you need to make sure that you are doing your part in saving as much money as possible to achieve financial independence as quickly as possible so that you don't one day become a part of the statistic that we just discussed. FIRE basically stands for financial independence and retiring early. But what does it actually mean? Can you just click on a lighter and declare that you have achieved FIRE?
I declare FIRE!
Obviously not. FIRE basically is a movement established by a group of people that focus all of their energy and time towards saving and investing as much money as possible that then helps these people retire far earlier than your traditional methods of retirement, like sitting in a cubicle working from 9 to 5 every single day until you die one day. Some of these people that are trying to achieve FIRE dedicate up to 70% of their income towards investing. In the minds of these people, a small sacrifice towards living more modestly and having as little expenses every month as possible is well worth not having to work their butts off until they are 65 years of age. Basically, the formula is to live well below your means. This means that you drive a modest car, you live in a modest house, you eat out or order takeout only a couple times a month, and keep all your other expenses as low as possible. In essence, you shy away from living like the Jonases. It may all sound complicated when you first find out about it. Where do you even get started with this FIRE thing? It's actually pretty simple. Look at what your annual expenses are every single year. Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, these will be your basic expenses to just sustain your life to begin with. Groceries, bills, car payments, and some other basic expenses fall under this category. Once you have this number figured out, multiply it by 30. Whatever number you get from there can be your target number to achieve in terms of investments to declare that you have achieved FIRE.
FIRE!
What does this mean in terms of retiring early though? FIRE proponents use the famous 4% rule as a guideline to borrowing money from their investments. Once you have your FIRE number from what we discussed earlier, multiply that by 4% and that is what you can spend every year from your investments with some money left over to adjust for inflation, pay taxes, and buy dog food. And ideally, you will never run out of money. If you haven't guessed already, once you have achieved FIRE, you probably won't need to work again to sustain your basic lifestyle. But the same cookie cutter formula doesn't fit everyone. And because of that, there are a certain categories that retirement from FIRE can be categorized into. The first category is called lean FIRE. If the name hasn't been suggestive enough, lean FIRE is basically a way of living wherein you have enough money invested to be able to sustain an extremely frugal lifestyle, aka a minimal lifestyle. With lean FIRE, you will have a lot of time on your hands since you won't be working anymore, but don't expect to be living your perfect life, posting pictures of yourself in exotic locations or driving a fancy car, unless you know how to use Photoshop, of course. With the time you have on hands, a lot of it will be dedicated towards managing an extremely tight budget, trying to find creative ways to keep costs down, and finding ways to simplify your lifestyle. The goal investment amount of lean FIRE, as agreed by the popular subreddit Lean FIRE, is $40,000 a year. You can see how it's not a lot of money, but it's also not a lot of money either. Depending on the cost of living in the area that you're currently residing in, you may have to make some moves to keep your yearly expenses to or below $40,000. The next category is Fat Fire. Fat Fire is exactly opposite of what Lean Fire is. Don't worry, you still will be retiring from your job, but it won't be necessary for you to live frugally or manage your expenses or even live on a super tight budget. This is exactly the fire category one has to achieve to be able to drive fancy cars and take exotic vacations. With Fat Fire, you will be looking at borrowing between $100,000 and $120,000 from your investments each year to spend on living your life. If you remember our 4% rule still, this will require you to have investments worth $2.5 to $3 million by the time you retire. Of course, if you want to dig a bit deeper on this one, you can take a look at the subreddit Fat Fire linked in the description below. The third and final category of financial independence is known as the Barista Fire category. This category puts a whole new spin on retiring early. Instead of retiring completely from work, with this type of financial independence, you still get to work a part-time job every week based on what you like to do and how much you like to work. The idea is to retire from the high-stress 9-to-5 job of the modern world and settle on a much lower-paying but fun part-time job that supplements income from your investments each month to pay for living expenses. The advantage with this type of fire is that with the part-time job, you may also be eligible for employer-sponsored health coverage programs or a 401k match that will help boost your retirement savings. Also, the coolest thing about Barista Fire is that you get to work on what you actually enjoy doing, which may be creating art or serving coffee or starting a small t-shirt selling business out of your own garage. Needless to say, there is a Reddit community for Barista Fire that you can check out. But this being a pretty brand new type of retirement, you may still be left searching for answers for a lot of your questions. Once again guys, thanks so much for watching, and if you already are or not on your FIRE journey to achieve financial independence and retiring early, I would love to understand your thoughts about FIRE. So please feel free to comment down below and like this video before you click away, as it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next week. See ya.